6 months ago, OnePlus brought out the OnePlus 5. Now, 6 months later, we've got this, the OnePlus 5T, and it's suitably different. This is actually the phone the OnePlus 5 should have been. This is the OnePlus 5, and you'll notice that it looks a bit old, and OnePlus knows that. So this is the reason the OnePlus 5T exists. It's to shrink the bezels at the top and the bottom of the screen to give the new phone an incredibly modern look, to really bring it right up to date, to make it challenge the Galaxy S8, the LG V30 and various other small bezel smartphones. The result is actually quite startling. You can see it when we put the two together. This is a 5.5 inch screen on the OnePlus 5 and this is a 6.01 inch screen on the OnePlus 5T. It's a massive difference between the two. Yet the body, as you can see, is basically the same size. So it's quite an achievement. The screen has got one of those full HD plus resolutions, so it's like 2160 by 1080. If you're worried that you're going to miss the 2K resolution, you're really not going to. As you can see in the video, it's wonderfully bright. The colours are fantastic. We really like the screen on the phone. It looks really great. Inside, little has changed between the OnePlus 5 and the 5T. You've still got that Snapdragon 835 processor, 8GB of RAM on this version with 128GB of storage. There's a second version that's got 64GB of storage and 6GB of RAM. That's a little bit cheaper, but to be honest, you really want to buy the more expensive one with the more storage because it's going to last you longer. There's no micro SD card slot. If we have a look at the back, we've still got a dual lens camera. It's in a slightly larger bump this time, definitely more pronounced. And the internals of the camera have changed. Gone is the telephoto lens and in comes a wide angle lens. Now, the changes that makes, OnePlus says, is to enhance low light photography. We're waiting to test that out properly. It looks good in our early tests. It still produces that all-important blurred background effect. It's just it uses it in a slightly different way. We've been impressed by the way that it gives you a full screen shot, a wide angle shot, instead of cropping it down. Now, while we're on the back, you probably noticed this rather ugly little cutout here. That's the fingerprint sensor, and it's moved from the bottom of the screen here, obviously, because there's not really a bezel big enough to use it anymore. So instead, just like Huawei phones, the LG phone, Samsung's phone, you have the fingerprint sensor on the rear. It's incredibly fast, but it's not the only way that you unlock this phone. OnePlus has put face recognition in here. Now, it's not really using anything other than the selfie cam. So it doesn't use an iris scanner or something incredibly complex. Instead, it's like LG's system, which is like a face unlock. So it's a complementary system to the fingerprint sensor on the rear. It works shockingly well. If I have to probably look a bit closer, but if I tilt the screen towards me, it unlocked there. Just from the lock screen, it looks to me and it unlocks. We find that fast and reliable, and that's pretty much what we want from an unlocking system on the phone. It's not used for Android Pay, so OnePlus is not saying it's super secure. What it is very convenient, and we really like that. So let's have a look and see how depth effects works. Now we've got a wide angle lens and a standard lens. So we go into the camera mode, and you change modes very simply just by swiping through the screen. So we go to here, and we almost instantly get the depth effect when we're focusing in on this OnePlus 5 here. So we tap into that, and we'll take the photo. We go into the gallery, you can see that it's done a fairly good job here. We're still getting the lights, but the face and everything else in the background is suitably blurred. And certainly in the foreground there, everything's in focus. And even the line at the side is fairly well defined. And you get a much wider angle than you would do if we were using the OnePlus 5. So we think that's pretty successful. Let's recap then. Fastest processor, more RAM than you can ever know what to do with, and the latest tech trend of this beautiful full screen optic AMOLED screen. for $500? You're still watching this, but you should be out there buying it.